One last and final instructional hello to my lovely art historians. I am in a great mood this morning because we got snow here in New Jersey. So come with me and I will show you. I know for those in Missouri, you get lots of snow, I'm sure, but feels wintry and lovely. Anyway, so though I say a final instructional hello, art historians, to you all, that does not mean you can get rid of me so quickly. Of course, I will still be posting my weekly summary videos. I feel like it's just such a good way to wrap up an online course when we don't really get to interact with each other on that face-to-face level. So, you have officially made it to the end of your course content for 227, and I hope you've been enjoying what we have been looking at so far. I will definitely admit the last couple modules with anything performance related was a little jarring, so I will apologize, I guess, for that. But the art is certainly making you feel and think certain ways about things, so very interesting. But now we move on a little bit further to Module 15, which is Art Since 1980 Part 2. So Art Since 1980 Part 2, this is 15.01, the only unit for this module, which is including Art, the West, and the Western Canon. And we have 8 core works and 2 supplemental works. And of course, we're talking about a time frame of 1980 to today of artists working all around the world. So, the works we have are ones that I'm quite familiar with and do truly enjoy. So we're going to take a look at Faith Ringgold's Dancing at the Louvre. We're going to take a look at Juan Quick to See Smith's Trade, Gifts for Giving Land with White People, Shirin Nishat's Rebellious Silence, Yinka Shonibare's Napoleon, The Swing After Fragonard, El Anatouzi's Old Man's Cloth, and Kehinde Wiley's Napoleon Leading the Army Over the Alps. And then we have Mickalene Thomas's Looking at the Masters, Kara Walker's Subtlety or The Marvelous Sugar Baby. And then for your supplemental works, you've got Drawn Quick to See Smith's What in a Map from the State Names, and Ai Weiwei's Study in Perspective. So let's discuss the key developments, themes, and contributions in art and culture related to art, the West and the Western canon since 1980. With emphasis on artists that I have just mentioned. So this discussion will really center around 6 different subcategories or themes. So one of the first thematic approaches you will see is the expanding of narratives and diverse voices, beginning with the decentering of the canon. So artists like Quick to See Smith and El Anatsui challenge these Eurocentric ideals by incorporating indigenous and African traditions into contemporary artwork. Additionally, feminist artwork is continuing to expand, with Faith Ringgold and Shirin Nishat exploring very divisive gender dynamics, as Ringgold focuses on Black women's experiences and Nishat addresses women's roles in Islamic societies. Lastly, we have racial identity and representation also being the focus within this category, with artists like Kehinde Wiley and Kara Walker interrogating representations of race in art history, as Wiley really remixes classical portraits to center Black figures, and Walker really explores slavery's legacy and its impact today as well. Our second thematic group of artistic communication centers around globalization and cross-cultural exchange. As we start, of course, with the transnational perspectives of the point of view like Yinka Shonibare's work, which really critiques colonialism as well as globalization, and often combines European art forms with the African textiles. And additionally, we do want to discuss cultural hybridity for a second. It's a really important focus for El Anatsui, who creates these really monumental sculptures from discarded materials. And he's doing so to really merge the traditional African art practices with global concerns about consumption and waste. So really dealing with some very important topics that are still very prevalent today. We're also seeing a category number, we're at 4 at this point, of new mediums and techniques. So starting with installation and mixed media, Mickalene Thomas is really using a lot of combinations of many different materials like rhinestones, acrylic paint, enamel, and creates really complex works, doing so to celebrate Black femininity in culture. Technology in art within the new medium is also still totally popular and being used. Many artists are leveraging these new technologies like video and digital media really to reach broader audiences and engage with contemporary themes. This kind of movement towards technology being used in the art world is very similar to what we saw with like the printing press back in, a very long time ago, but still that process of disseminating information it was really, really important, and so these technologies let us do that. Now, our fourth category, last one was the third category, now this is the fourth category. Artists during this era are really also channeling a lot of really important themes of power and identity. And so within the concept of historical revisionism, for example, Kara Walker is also trying to reinterpret these historical narratives using irony or satire or kind of almost like hidden but sort of in your face, very violent imagery that really exposes these uncomfortable truths. Within this theme, one also cannot forget about the important ideas surrounding empowerment and beauty, as artists like Mickalene Thomas, you'll see, and Kehinde Wiley celebrate the beauty, the strength, and the dignity of marginalized communities. So giving them a little bit of a voice when they maybe didn't previously have one within the entirety of art history. Number 5, we are looking at art and activism becoming a really important theme here, especially with social justice, where many artists are really using their work to address urgent social issues like racial injustice, gender inequality, and environmental concerns through their work. So political commentary is just another subject like the artist Shirin Nishat uses, critiquing within her work, while also highlighting political and religious oppression, really within the context of her Iranian heritage, something that really connects very deeply and personally to her and how she was brought up and her community. And finally, artists are also focusing on themes of recognition and institutional change as they break barriers, achieve international acclaim, with many exhibiting in prestigious venues like the Venice Biennial and major Western museums. Institutional critique really brought about their success, which is driving critiques of museum practices as well, leading to a kind of broader redefinition of what constitutes the quote-unquote canon. So these artists and their contemporaries are not only just enriching the Western canon in general, but they're really reshaping it and redefining it moving forward, making it more inclusive and really just more reflective of this diverse global society that we are a part of. So if you take a look at the Carpino corner, I've actually got a good amount of pictures for some of the works in this unit that I truthfully almost didn't even realize until I was looking through my pictures again and noticed that I had actually seen a few of these in person. So the piece by Quick to See Smith, though I didn't get to see Trade, one of their works was hanging in the Montclair Art Museum bunch of years ago at this point. I think it was just after COVID, so maybe 2 or 3 years ago, but that was really cool to see a work in person. A lot of really interesting collage elements being used within the paint and the newspaper articles that are very, very relevant, so that was really fun to see. I also got the chance to check out El Anatsui's Old Man's Cloth when I was in the Met. Another kind of surprise, like the Power Congo figure was for me, which is a piece of African art that is centered around healing and kind of also revenge, and a complex figure, but I don't know, sometimes the Met has some really cool things that I am not expecting, and I always snap a picture. And last but not least, I also got the chance to go to the Montclair Art Museum for a exclusive art educator event and art making opportunity with their installation of one of many of Kara Walker's works as an exhibition. So seeing her work in person is really, really important because the human connection and interaction with it makes it more real. For example, a lot of her work centers around the cutting up of silhouettes and outlines within black construction paper and pasted onto walls. And so when you're there in person, you actually do feel like you are part of that story, which I think is really interesting. Her one piece, Darkytown Rebellion, even has the light element to it, which allows your shadow to also be reflected on the wall with all of these other works, which was really cool. So seeing her works in person was really fun. Not only just those pieces on the wall, but she also has some drawings, some smaller scale print and cutout paper works that are just really interesting, as well as some large scale drawings and even some metal sculpture work, which is really cool. So I really hope you all have enjoyed our curriculum that you've been working through. I want to say that, this is my 3rd class teaching here at Lindenwood, and honestly, it's now the best class. You all have totally just blown my mind with the amount of amazing hard work you've been doing, and I will expand on these compliments and my gratefulness in my final weekly summary video. So in the meantime, enjoy this curriculum. I'm getting a little too sappy right now, so I'm going to end this now, and I will see you all later. Bye, art historians!